What's up, guys? Part-Time Gamer Dad here, and today I'm giving you my review of the Royal Rumble 2025. Now, the Royal Rumble just happened a couple of days ago, and in a lot of ways, it was a really fun show. It was one of the best Rumble shows in recent memory, but there were a couple of things that left a little bit of a sour taste in the mouth of fans. I'm going to address those things, but first and foremost, I want to say that I love the unpredictable nature of WWE right now. We all had a lot of people we thought would win these matches, and while the women's match maybe had a not great result in that it was too predictable, some people were really upset with how unpredictable the men's Rumble became, and I would actually argue it's kind of fun that it's so unpredictable and that we're heading this direction. So with all that said, let's get into my review of the Royal Rumble 2025. So kicking us off, we have the Women's Royal Rumble. This Rumble was very interesting. Not that it was necessarily light years better or light years worse than any of the previous Women's Rumbles from the last 6 years. I honestly think it was on par, if not minorly better than previous Rumbles. I think the pacing of the match was just fine. Io Sky to be the #1 entrant was great, although she was my pick, and I knew instantly when she came out she was not going to win, because if you think about Rhea Ripley is the only woman I think that's won from #1. I didn't think Io was going to be the second to do that, so a little bit of a bummer. I kind of knew the writing was on the wall almost immediately once Io came out. But we had some great returns. We had Trish Stratus coming out, which was already kind of spoiled, and then obviously we had the one that kind of had the biggest pop of the entire Women's Rumble, which is Alexa Bliss returning to WWE. And I love the remark by Michael Cole saying, well, did the internet say that she wasn't coming back? I thought the internet said that she wasn't coming back. So how is she back? It was a little fun poke at us, the internet wrestling community. But this match, while good as the whole, I'm really frustrated by the ending. I know they're wanting to get to like Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. I love that idea. I think that match will be great. There's a number of other ways you could have gotten there, and I really think if there's one person who didn't need to end this match, it was Charlotte Flair. So for me, that brought the match down. I do think it was really interesting the way they presented Nia Jax. Nia Jax breaking the record for being the woman with the most eliminations in Rumble history, the most eliminations in a single Rumble, and that moment where she kind of eliminated, 5 or 6 women all at one time, that was great. They typically do that beatdown spot where, you know, the big monster heel pushes everybody away, and that was fine. I like how she was presented as a whole. And Jordynne Grace picking up Piper Niven and hitting a Death Valley Driver, that was great. There was just a lot of great moments in this match, but once we kind of got to that final stretch, it was very apparent who was going to win, especially once Nia had that big elimination of 5 women. We all knew it was going to be Charlotte Flair at that point, and that's the problem I have with this match over the men's match, is that this match was too predictable. As soon as Charlotte Flair came in at number 27, we also knew that is the ideal number to come in, if you will, in the Royal Rumble. It's not number 30, it's number 27. And it just left a sour taste in my mouth. So all that being said, I give the Women's Royal Rumble 3 3/4. And listen, that's not a bad score, because on the whole, I thought it was just fine. However, I think that it is something where I would like to see more creativity. And how do you get Charlotte Flair coming back, being selfless, not needing to win the Rumble when she's probably the most established women's star in the history of professional wrestling? How do you give her a more interesting story to get to Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania and use the Rumble as a vehicle to build somebody else like we did with the men's Rumble? So all that being said, I can only give this at most 3 3/4. Next up, my most disappointing match of the night, we had the Motor City Machine Guns challenging DIY for the WWE Tag Team Championships in a 2 out of 3 falls match. I just didn't like how the pacing of this match felt very rushed, and you could see by the fact that they didn't get a whole lot of time. That first fall came really quickly into the match. I think between fall 1 and fall 2 was probably the best portion of the match. It was the best singular match within the trilogy of the falls. And that, you know, using a knee coming out of where Alex Shelley was going to hit the sliced bread and got thrown into just a knee from Tommaso Ciampa, that felt kind of weak to me. It didn't feel like it was worthy of a fall. And then you had Motor City Machine Guns getting the fall back. When they used their tag finish, I knew that they were going to lose, because at that point, you still had to have DIY hit meet in the middle or one of their finishers. And then I thought it was interesting. I don't know how I feel about this with the Street Profits costing Motor City Machine Guns the tag titles, but then also attacking DIY so that they could be the ones to take those tag titles from them. And that's the whole reason they interfered in this match. So does that make them tweeners because DIY is clearly heels and those Motor City Machine Guns are clearly faces? Does that make the Street Profits tweeners in this case, or are they heels, or are they faces? I think they're going to lean tweener, and the only way I think that I'm okay with this is if it leads to a huge triple threat match at either Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania, and we have an epic, maybe a ladder match, maybe, it could be fun. They did that tag team Elimination Chamber match way back in the day. You get thrown Pretty Deadly and some other tag teams in there. Maybe that's what we have, is everybody gets thrown into a tag title match, DIY retains, and then we get the triple threat at WrestleMania. There's a number of ways to go about this, but this match and what it did for the teams, it just didn't feel impactful. We know these teams can go. We've seen Motor City Machine Guns put on some incredible performances in the past and even in the WWE, but especially TNA. And I know they're older. I know it's been 10, 15 years, but they still got it. And I feel like that this match was hindered by the amount of time it was given. It should have gotten 20 minutes. So I can only give this, and people might be mad at me about this, but I can only give this 3 stars. It is a decent, fine match, but it never gets into a third or fourth gear. It just kind of stays stagnant, and the most exciting part was the finish, and it wasn't exciting in a good way. It was like, oh, that's how we're going to finish it, is interference and then meet in the middle from DIY. Fine, whatever. And it would have been more interesting if you wanted to add somebody to DIY, like as a group. I would have preferred that over Street Profits costing Motor City Machine Guns. But all that being said, the most I can give this one is 3 stars. All right, now it is time for Ladder War, which was between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. A ladder match for the WWE Undisputed and that beautiful, classic, old school WWF, now WWE Championship Kevin Owens has been running around with. This match, it's a match of 2 parts. It's very similar to the Men's Rumble, which we'll get to in a minute. The beginning of this match had a really slow pace. It didn't really kick into high gear until the ladders actually started coming into play. And I know that's easy to say because it's like, well, of course, it's a ladder match, so that's when things will turn up. But it felt like we took a long time to get there, even though that portion of the match where it felt kind of slow was maybe a quarter of the match, and it felt like much longer than that because of the pacing. So when you got into the actual ladder pieces of the match, it picked up a lot. These guys were doing crazy bumps. That hooked spinning suplex off the top rope from Kevin Owens to Cody Rhodes. It looked like Kevin Owens hit his head. That was incredible, and obviously that led to Sami Zayn and Nick Aldis and all these guys coming out to check on Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. And then Kevin Owens said, well, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and hit a package pile driver on the table on Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes uses that momentum against him, turns into an Alabama Slam through the ladder, and then goes and climbs up the ladder to win the match and retain his championship. But also giving Sami Zayn some flack for mostly caring about his best friend Kevin Owens. And I see it from both perspectives. I see Sami Zayn that's my best friend, I want to protect him. But then also Cody's this guy just tried to end my career multiple times. He's trying to basically kill me, and he's been, making fun of my dad who's passed away, all these things, right? So I understand both perspectives, but I feel like we're getting a little bit of heel Cody in a way, just from some of his posturing and his behavior and his posture towards his friend Sami Zayn. So it'll be very interesting to see where this match goes, because clearly from the Royal Rumble match, it looks like that person is going to go challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. So the WWE Championship will be defended against the winner of the Elimination Chamber, which we'll also talk about here in a minute. But this match, I would give it 4.5 stars. Really great match. One of my favorite ladder matches, maybe ever. I just think that first initial, quarter to third of the match, it just was slow in pace, and it could have been so much better. It could have been such a stronger start to the match. Could have been a little more fiery. Could have involved more weapons. I think when you go through the crowd, especially at the start of a match, you don't expect anything major, right? Especially at the beginning of a match, because it's a ladder match. So what's going to happen out there that's going to be of interest? And nothing really could have happened. So this match gets 4.5 stars. All right, guys, the Royal Rumble, the Men's Royal Rumble match. We're here. And in this match, it was, I think, an opportunity to tell a lot of stories, push a lot of stories forward, begin a lot of new stories, and create some excitement around the Royal Rumble. And I think this match accomplished all of that pretty darn well. There were a couple of things that I think could have been better. I think you could have loaded your Rumble better with a couple more bigger name guys towards the beginning. Ray and Penta kicking it off and Penta eliminating himself, even though they didn't show you the replay. But if you go look at some of the footage and the pictures, he definitely eliminated himself. This match could have used some more big names towards the beginning. Obviously, with Jacob Fatu coming out and then Roman Reigns kind of towards the middle, that helped bolster it up. Obviously, the pop that Joe Hendry got when he appeared at number 15 was massive. And I love the interaction between him and the other competitors, him and Roman Reigns. And obviously Roman Reigns is the tribal chief, so he launched him on out. We didn't have a few people I was expecting, but that's okay, like a Randy Orton, a Solo Sikoa, even Omos, who's supposedly returning to the WWE. But this match had a really great, like 20 through 30 was like pretty much anything and everything you could have hoped for, depending on your feelings about Logan Paul at number 30. But from when Jey Uso came in to the end of the match, everything just picked up immensely. And obviously John Cena coming out at number 23, and then CM Punk at 24, and then Seth Rollins at 25. Like, boom, boom, boom. They're like the heavy favorites, and the heavy hitters are coming in. Roman and Drew were a little bit before that. Then you had like Dominic Mysterio coming in. And then we got towards the end of the match, and after Logan Paul got in, there were some exciting moments of like, okay, well, is he going to get eliminated? He jumps to the table. He comes back in, and it takes AJ Styles, another great return with his original theme music, thank the Lord. He gets eliminated. And then we get down to that moment where it's like the final 6, and Drew McIntyre got eliminated in a way that I don't think he was expecting to get eliminated. Sounds like maybe there was a miscue, there was a botch, or the elimination was meant to take place, but according to backstage reports, Drew McIntyre said somebody had to get their stuff in, and he was very upset. He was cursing, and he stormed out of the arena. So in some of the kind of research I've done about the show, it looks like maybe LA Knight or Logan Paul were in the way of that moment, in the way of the view of the camera. So potentially LA Knight and Logan Paul kind of screwed that up, and Drew McIntyre was very upset. Or potentially Damian Priest eliminated Drew McIntyre when he wasn't supposed to. Either way, this kind of poses a new question: is Drew McIntyre going? Are they ever going to reveal like who it actually was that he was upset with? And there's been reports that it's going to be Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Is Drew McIntyre just upset about his position in WrestleMania this year, considering the year he's had, where he was this time last year, all those things? But we got to the final 6. You had Jey Uso, John Cena, Logan Paul, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. It's like weird because you're watching it and Jey Uso and Logan Paul kind of stick out. I was like, okay, well, those are obviously the next 2 guys to go because the final 4 are going to be Cena, Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. And then the story really starts to develop. Rollins and Reigns are kind of duking it out. The past is being brought back up. They cannot let bygones be bygones. They hate each other. And so they're battling it out. They're having a mini match in the middle of the Rumble. It was awesome. It was great to see. And then CM Punk eliminates both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at the same time, only to be eliminated by Logan Paul immediately afterwards. So the biggest horse of booze I maybe have heard in the last 6 months by somebody not named Dominic Mysterio. So we get to the point where it's the final 3, and Jey and Cena team up to take out Logan Paul, and we get down to Jey Uso and John Cena. And guys, I picked CM Punk. My backup was John Cena. But I knew as soon as it was down to Jey, Logan Paul, and Cena, I just had this feeling that Jey Uso was going to win. And they really made you believe that John Cena had a shot at it. And they really made you believe Jey Uso had a shot at it. And when it came down to it, it was Jey Uso's night. And he pushed him out. And it's weird because is Jey Uso the most unpredictable winner in the history of the Royal Rumble? Maybe you could say that. Some people would say, like, the most undeserving or the worst Royal Rumble winners in history were Vince McMahon, right? And I would agree with that. You might say stuff like Alberto Del Rio in the 40-man Rumble, like that didn't feel great. Sheamus outlasting Chris Jericho wasn't great. But I would argue that Jey Uso was a good choice. The only thing I don't agree with, and I understand there's two camps, right? Jay just lost to Gunther clean at Saturday Night's main event a week and a half ago. When you think about the story they're building, yeah, he's like, yeah, I can beat him. I could beat him. I could do this. But this is the same story we told with Sammy and Gunther last year. And it kind of feels like a rehash of that like Rocky storyline. And yes, granted, this is going to be in Vegas, not Philadelphia, so the correlation will not be exactly the same as it was like last year. But at the same time, they got to find a new narrative for this story. Or if you want to make this really interesting, and I would not hate this, have Jay go after Cody, turn Cody heel, and give Jay a reason to be like this mega uber babyface to take on Cody Rhodes. Because we're already seeing some of that come out of him. I think that what we'll end up seeing is Gunther versus Jay. That is the story they're telling, clearly after the Rumble match, but I wouldn't hate Cody versus Jey Uso. Now that leaves John Cena proclaiming that he will be in the Elimination Chamber and that the winner of that match will wrestle the WWE Champion at WrestleMania in the main event. He already said, I'm going back to Hungary. I'm going to go ahead and film my movie, and that gives a month for my 5 opponents to prepare and slander my name while I'm gone. And guys, if you haven't seen his promo at the press conference, please do. It is one of the best promos of the last year because it's just him. It's naturally, genuinely actual human being John Cena, and he's taking ownership of like, hey, I actually earned this because of my loyalty over the last 23 years. I deserve this, and so I'm taking it. Do we see heel John Cena? Who knows? Might be fun. I don't think we will. Not on his farewell tour, but that opens the door up for, do we see Cena versus Cody? Which I think if that match happens, that is main eventing WrestleMania. That is your night 2 main event. I'd love to see Jey Uso against Gunther in a main event. However, it also looks like we're heading towards CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, because after CM Punk eliminated Reigns and Rollins and Logan Paul eliminated him, then we saw a crazy stomp with both feet from Seth to Roman. Then Seth and Punk are fighting outside the ring. Right before all this, Roman and Punk are staring each other down like as a, how could you have eliminated me? I mean, that to me, I think we're getting a triple threat. That would be huge. That would be awesome. There's just so many moving pieces, and like we're starting to get a shape of the WrestleMania picture now. Probably sometime this month, I'm going to give you my predictions for a WrestleMania card that I think is doable. That is actually probably going to, well, what I think could happen, and also a fantasy book of WrestleMania card. We'll do a couple of videos, but for Jey Uso winning the 2025 Royal Rumble, I give that match, man, guys, it was really good. It was really, really good. I'm going to give it 4 3/4. I can't quite give it 5, and here's the reason why. Number one, there was a lot of miscommunication and botching, and also, number two, there was a lot to be desired for the first half of the match. Until we started getting guys like Jacob Fatu, Joe Hendry, Roman Reigns. Like that first 10, it was kind of lacking for just star power outside of Rey and Penta, but you needed a little bit more and a couple more, exciting returns similar to the women's match. We didn't necessarily have a whole lot of that. Speed coming in was funny, but again, BDE, why did you say that in your Reddit video, man? Why did you like jinx us to have Speed in the Royal Rumble? It's fine. He took a spear and he got chucked out. But yeah, this match, 4 3/4. I think it's an incredible Rumble, one of the best in recent memory. And I can't wait to see Jey Uso win the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. All right, guys, that's my review of Royal Rumble 2025. Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about Jey Uso being the Royal Rumble winner for 2025 in the Men's Rumble. Do you think he's going to beat Gunther at WrestleMania? Do you think he's going to challenge Cody Rhodes somehow between now and Mania? Do you think Cena is going to win the Elimination Chamber and go on to WrestleMania to main event against Cody Rhodes? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you very soon.